Hello, and welcome back to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I am Heather, and I have been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009 with the original Tudor History Podcast. This channel is where I put all of my old episodes, as well as lots of extra content like this video right here. Today, I'm in a spooky kind of mood. It is that time of year, and we're going to talk about the ghosts of Henry's wives, where all of the Tudor queens are haunting. I've got a couple of spooky videos planned over the next couple of weeks, but today we're going to talk specifically about Henry's wives, the six queens, and where you might encounter them today. If you would like to see more Tudor history in your YouTube feed, why not hit subscribe right now, and then you will never miss any of the content that I put out. So let's get right into it. Henry VIII and his six wives have captivated the imaginations of people for centuries. Their lives were filled with drama, intrigue, and tragedy, and some say that their stories did not necessarily end with their deaths. From castles to churches, the spirits of Henry's wives are said to linger with us, forever tied to the places where many of their most profound moments unfolded. So today we're going to talk about some of these eerie, ghostly sightings that linked these tragic queens. And we're going to talk about Anne Boleyn to start with, who even in death seems to be the most active ghost of all, haunting no fewer than six locations around Britain. So we're going to start at Blickling Hall in Norfolk. Every year on the night of May 19th, the anniversary of Anne's execution, a spectral coach is said to arrive at Blickling, which was her family home. A headless Anne Boleyn steps out. Her head is tucked neatly under her arm. Local legend says that when the news of her death reached Norfolk in 1536, headless horses and riders were seen across the countryside, an omen of tragedy to come. Visitors at Blickling have long reported eerie, strange sights and sounds, believing the restless spirit of Anne to return each year. There's also Sal Church, another location in Norfolk that is tied to Anne's ghost. According to local lore, Anne's body was secretly reburied here by her loyal supporters. Her decapitated figure has been spotted walking the aisles of the church, her presence stirring both fear and fascination for those who dare to visit. Marle Hall in Hampshire, which is where Henry is said to have planned his wedding to Jane Seymour, is another site that is tied to Anne's spectral wanderings. It's believed that her spirit roams the yew tree walk, the path where Henry and Jane may have talked about their future together. The betrayal and the heartbreak surrounding Anne's downfall are forever etched on the grounds of this estate. There's also obviously then Hever Castle, her childhood home, where she is said to appear every Christmas, walking across the footbridge over the River Eden. Her ghost has also been seen standing beneath the ancient oak tree where she and Henry had courted in happier times, a bittersweet reminder of their once very promising future. Anne's spirit is also said to haunt Windsor Castle. In Dean's Cloister, her ghost can be seen staring from a window known today as Anne Boleyn's window. On other occasions, witnesses claim to have seen her headless form running down corridors, clutching her head in a terrifying, silent scream. Ick. Then the most obvious place is the Tower of London, where she met her tragic end. In 1817, a sentry on duty at the White Tower saw a mysterious woman in white surrounded by a mist. When he challenged her, his bayonet passed through her ghostly form, and he was thrown to the ground by a flash of light. Many believe that the woman that he saw was Anne, still wandering the tower where she spent her final days. She's also said to haunt the chapel of St. Peter ad Vincula, where she was laid to rest after her execution. I've been in that chapel. I was there for a private concert in the evening, and I was walking back out. It was dark, and I think I might have heard footsteps beside me, but also I might not have. I'm not sure. I wouldn't bet my life that I had heard footsteps. Anyway, it is a very eerie, very strange place. So I can definitely attest to that one. Now let's move on to another wife, Katherine of Aragon. She's not quite as active as Anne is. However, she has two places where she haunts. The first is Castle Lodge in Ludlow. After she married Prince Arthur, Catherine lived at Castle Lodge in Ludlow, where it was a very happy time for her. She was a newlywed, but it was also a period of her most profound loss. It was here that Arthur died just a few months after their wedding, leaving her a widow in a foreign country. Visitors to Castle Lodge report sightings of a ghostly Tudor girl wandering the attic and the nursery rooms, believed to be Catherine herself, drawn back to the place where she last felt love and hope. And then there's Kimbleton Castle. After Henry divorced her, Catherine was banished to Kimbleton, where she spent her final years in isolation. And she died here in 1536, her health deteriorating from neglect, from heartbreak, from just the whole stress of everything. So the interesting thing about Catherine's ghost here at Kimbleton is that they have changed the floor levels in the years since her death. And she seems unaware of that. And so sometimes she's just the bottom half of the woman. Other times you can see just the head and shoulders of a woman going along the floor because they've changed the way the levels are. So I find it a little curious that, a ghost can still be there, but hasn't realized that the physical surroundings have changed. But maybe you don't realize that stuff in the ghost world. Maybe you don't see physical form the same way that we do. Anyway, Jane Seymour, let's talk about her. Jane is said to haunt the place where she brought both joy and sorrow to the king, Hampton Court Palace. Jane, of course, died just a few days after giving birth to Henry's long-awaited male heir, Edward, and her death from post-birth complications deeply affected the king, who had considered her his perfect wife. Of course, they'd only been married for, like a year and a half at that point, so he didn't have much time to get sick of her, so she went out on a high. Anyway, on the anniversary of Edward's birth, October 12th, a sorrowful figure believed to be Jane is seen walking up and down Silverstick Stairs, carrying a lighted taper. So the people who have seen this ghost talk about how very sad it is, how very sad it looks. She seems to want to go back and visit the place where she had her greatest achievement, giving birth to a future king, as well as her untimely end. Then there's the story of Catherine Howard, poor screaming Catherine Howard. Her ghost seems to be the most emotional of all of the ghosts, which, you can't blame her. Accused of adultery, Catherine was arrested at Hampton Court Palace. In a moment of sheer terror, she broke free of her guards. She ran down the gallery, screaming for Henry's mercy. Her cries went unheard, and she was later executed at the Tower of London. Today, her ghost is said to relive that desperate moment, sprinting down what is now known as the Haunted Gallery, her screams echoing through the palace. Her heart-wrenching final plea for life is tragically replayed over and over, an eternal reminder of her youth and the horrors that she faced. If I was a ghost, I think I would choose almost any other time to relive than that. Why not go back and relive some of your dalliances with Culpeper if you're going to go back and revisit things? But I'm sure there's a lot unfinished there that she might still be processing. Then there's Anne of Cleves. So Anne seems very content, of course, in life. She was the lucky one could say, in that she got a settlement. She didn't have to stay married to Henry. She was able to live independently. And it seems as if her ghost is quite content in the afterworld as well. She is sometimes seen in one of her former homes called Anne of Cleves House. Although she never actually lived in this house that's now called Anne of Cleves House, it was just given to her as part of her settlement, and she rarely ever even saw the house. But it is a very popular spot for paranormal investigations. And other than that, Anne of Cleves seems quite content. So it's possible that she went back to Germany and she's haunting her brother's house there. Either way, she's not particularly active in England. Good for her, I say. I hope she is having a nice, very peaceful afterlife. doing all kinds of fun, peaceful things. Katherine Parr, let's talk about her. She is at Sudeley Castle, of course, which is where she gave birth to her daughter, Mary Seymour, by Tom Seymour. Her ghost is said to wander the castle's corridors, searching for her very young infant who tragically passed away. It's a mystery whatever happened to Mary Sidney. She's there in the records and then she's gone. So it's assumed that she died when she was about 2. And Katherine Parr seems to be wandering around looking for her. One eerie encounter from the 19th century involved a worker who claimed to have been touched by her spirit after stealing a tooth from her coffin. Haunted by guilt, he returned the relic, convinced that Catherine's restless soul was disturbed by his act. Her maternal spirit, endlessly searching for her lost child, haunts this place where she found both joy and the end of her life. So there you have it, my friends. Some places to go to commune with the spirits of Henry VIII's wives if you are so inclined to do that. That would be a kind of fun thing to do on like Halloween or the Day of the Dead. Go and take a Ouija board or something like that. It would be a bit spooky. If you've ever done anything like that, I would love to know. Leave me a comment and tell me about it. I've got some other spooky videos planned in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for those. If you enjoyed this video and you reached the end, so clearly I hope you did, I sure would appreciate a press of that like button. It helps to feed the algorithm and get this content to more people. I also hope I earned your subscription to my channel where I put out videos like this on the regular. Also, if you want to keep watching Tudor stuff, why not check out this full episode I did with Brittany of History Bitches about 10 years ago now on Tudor ghosts. You can listen to that. Also, here's a video that YouTube thinks you will enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. You are deeply loved. I am so glad I share the planet with you. And don't forget to drink your water. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.